Hey class, so this is our notes for section 3B, and the topic is types of functions. So during these notes, I'm going to be using the app called Desmos. It's a graphing calculator app, and it's available to you in self-service. So if you are following along with me, which you should be, I need you to pause this video and go into self-service and download the app Desmos. So we are going to use Desmos to explore the shapes of all of these different functions, okay? And the topic today, like I said, is types of functions. So all of these are going to have different shapes because they're all different types of functions. So this first one, we are going to go to Desmos and we are going to type this first part into the graphing calculator. When I type into the graphing calculator, I only need to type the 2x plus 1. Okay, because the app will already say y equals or f of x equals. So I'm just going to type in 2x plus 1. When you open Desmos, it should look like this. So I am going to type into the box 2, the x in the top left corner, plus the number 1. So as you can see, I have a nice graph, a straight red line, and I want to insert this graph into my notes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the Sharo, which is that little box in the corner with the arrow going out of it. I'm going to export the image. I like to make the picture a medium or thick, and it's kind of nice. You can just hold it down with your finger and then hit copy, go to your notes, go to the scissors, hit paste image, and boom, there's my graph. I'm going to put it right there in the box, and it says describe the shape, and I would say that this shape is a line, a straight line. So next, we're going to type in the next function, x squared plus 2. I'm going to exit out, go to the box, and I'm going to type in x, and then the a squared next to the y will square plus 2. So this graph definitely looks different. I'm going to share and export, hold it down, copy it, and go back to my notes. I would say that this is a U-shape graph. All right, 2 more to go. The absolute value is right above the ABC. It looks like 2 straight lines with an A in the middle. Oops, I forgot to check what the function is. X plus 1 inside the absolute value. There's my graph. I'm going to share the graph, copy it, and paste. And I think we can all agree that this is a V shape. Okay, last but not least, we have a square root. The square root is next to ABC. It looks like a little check mark almost. And the function was just square root of x. So here is my graph. I'm going to share it. And this one's kind of weird. It's not a straight line. It looks like more curved. So I would say this almost looks like a hill. So a hill shape. Okay, so there is a connection, you guys. Every graph that looks like, every equation that looks like this with just a plain x will graph a line. Every equation with an x squared will graph a U shape. All the absolute values will graph a v, and all the square roots will graph a hill. So all of this is described in the chart on the next page. So the type of function has a special name. If the function is a quadratic, okay, then it graphs the U shape. And to know that it's a quadratic, the equation will have an x squared in it. So there must be an x squared. And there's many different ways this might look. So here's a bunch of examples. Notice though that all of these have an x squared. The last one's a little weird, but if I multiply all of this out, I will have an x squared. So since I see that squared, I know it's a quadratic, and therefore it's a U shape, okay? The next kind is linear. I bet you can guess what a linear equation graphs. It graphs a line. How do I know if it's a linear graph? Just by looking at the equation, it's going to have like a plain x to it, x to the first. So notice that there is no x squared in any of these. All of these would be considered linear. Okay, moving on, we have absolute value. Absolute value is, oh, this should say V shape. That might be a V, but the font is weird. So this should say V shape. And it looks like a V, just like we see here. And how do I know in the equation? It will have absolute value bars. So those straight up and down bars are all absolute value symbols. So that's how I know it's an absolute value equation. Oh yeah, the V looks like a U in this font, so I'm sorry about that. And then last but not least, we have square root, which we said looks like a hill. And if I look at the equation, I know that it's a square root function because there's literally a square root in it. Okay, so if I'm looking at an equation, I should be able to figure out what kind of function I'm looking at. And if I look at the graph, I should be able to figure out what kind of function I'm looking at. Okay, so for your homework in class next time we meet, you guys are simply going to just be looking at something and telling me what kind of function is it. That's all. We will meet again soon. Bye, guys.